Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Not with AE Recap, but with a special edition. Wrestling Rambles returns as SP3 and Mac ramble about AEW. Farewell to Daly's Place. We will be reviewing AEW Dynamite from this past week. Their return to Wednesday night, their final show of 16 consecutive months in Jacksonville at Daly's Place. I am here with the host extraordinaire from AE Recap, the man with 40,000 subscribers on YouTube. He is Mr. AEW on True Hill Heat, Jimmy Macram.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be out of Daly's Place. Those uppity fans got me that fucking film. Time to move on.
Great way to start things off. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, drop us a like, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified so you'll always get contacted whenever we go with the live stream or have brand new content right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. If you're watching us on Facebook or Twitter, drop us a like, a heart emoji, a laugh emoji, an angry emoji. However AEW Dynamite made you feel this week, let us know with those expressions. Tag a friend in the live chat. Leave your thoughts in the live chat. And of course, send a super chat to guaranteed you are a part of the show. We try to read as much as your comments in the live chat on all these different platforms. But to guaranteed, we talk about your comment. Make sure you donate $1 or more super chat to become a part of the show. Jimmy, you are live with us to talk about AEW Dynamite this week. How did it compare to Saturday Night Dynamite? One word to kind of make a comparison between you gave rave reviews for Saturday Night Dynamite with Jungle Boy and Kenny Omega. You called it the best book show in quite some time. I called it the best Dynamite in months. What did the Wednesday return feel like for you?
You said one word?
Yeah.
I got two.
Go ahead.
How do you compare? It didn't.
Once again, we are off to a great start. So yes, this edition of AEW Dynamite kicked off things with Chris Jericho coming out, being on commentary. What's your thoughts on Jericho, part-time commentator, Jimmy?
Jericho is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He's definitely one of the greatest wrestlers not named Ric Flair of all time. And but when he came out, I went, oh, this is gonna be a long one. I think JR has these throwback fucking analogies. Jesus Christ, Jericho cannot help himself. And he's so, I'm not sure what it is. Now he gets better as the show goes on. I guess the cocaine wears off. But at the beginning, he's just so there. Like, oh, all right.
He is very energetic, very excited. The opener on this show was the AEW Tag Team Champions, the Young Bucks versus Penta El Zero Miedo and Eddie Kingston. This was a World Tag Team title qualifier or eliminator match where if Penta and Kingston won, they would get a shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles. Speaking of Eddie Kingston, before we talk about this match, we got to talk about Eddie Kingston's, as they've been calling it on social media, and I've said it on a couple of different shows. If you call this an anti-WWE promo, you need to watch the Attitude Era all over again, because this was mild in comparison. But what did you think about Eddie Kingston's post-Saturday Night Dynamite promo talking about the guys on the other channel?
It very much felt like Eddie is the Draymond Green, I guess would be a good analogy, of AEW. I'm not knocking him talent-wise. Old Draymond Green, the one that was winning championships, that guy.
Okay, that's fair.
He's the verbal leader. He's the shit starter. But you kind of get behind that guy. I don't know why. You just want that guy in your corner. And was it over the top? No. I mean, I am older than most AEW fans, I would imagine.
Probably true.
Yeah, so I'm used to the attitude era. Fucking everybody's saying what they feel with a hint, hint, wink, wink on actual live television. So I don't particularly care what Eddie Kingston does, and Eddie Kingston's amazing. So I'll listen to him talk about the dictionary, quite frankly.
Hey, he cut a hell of a promo on like Reese's Pieces on D&D Elite. Like this guy, or Cookies, I think it was last year. So Eddie Kingston has literally cut promos on anything, and I've been deeply captivated by it. But this promo in particular got a visceral reaction from AEW as well as WWE fans who are like, "This is why I don't support AEW," and even and even former WWE superstar, WWE Hall of Famer Bully Ray on the Busted Open radio show. Bully had some particular words for Eddie Kingston. He did praise Kingston, said that if he was the captain for a promo battle, he would choose Eddie because of Eddie's realism and the way he delivers his promos. But he also told Eddie to shut the fuck up and stay in your lane. That Eddie Kingston shouldn't be saying these things about WWE. He should be, be in the rally call for AEW. That's fine. You spent 20 years on the independents and you're all about AEW. That's fine. But he said he's okay with Cody Rhodes crushing the throne. He's okay with Chris Jericho saying F you to WWE. But he's not okay with Eddie Kingston being the one cutting this promo. So what's your thoughts on Bully Ray, former ECW star, saying these things about Eddie Kingston, Jimmy?
He shouldn't say these things about WWE. Why? Is he hurting that corporation's feelings? That's not how that works. What are you even on about? First of all, Vince doesn't care. I always start there. Vince does. If you showed him a picture of Eddie Kingston, he'd forget in the next 12 seconds. He has the faintest idea of what Eddie Kingston is. And Bully Ray's done this. He's done exactly what fucking Eddie Kingston's done. And to be fair, I love Eddie. Bully did it significantly. I don't want to say better, but what's the word you use? More viscerally. That's just who he is.
He had more venom.
Yes.
More venom, yes.
And there's nothing about it. You're working. This is what we do. What the fuck? And you know what? And fairness, I don't want to be a hypocrite here. Bully Ray is working right now. So I can't knock it. It's his job to get promoted. That's what he did.
He is trying to get his name out there. Bully did not stop there this week. He had quite the week, to say the least here. He had on the same episode he referenced Eddie Kingston promo. He had Tony Khan on the show, and
Jesus.
And he was similar to you, and he called out AEW's refereeing and said that's one of the biggest problems with the company. And Tony Khan basically blew him off after he had his comments about Eddie Kingston. He says, I got better things to talk about. Then, days later, he had particular words on the AEW World Champion Kenny Omega and said, "Is Kenny Omega really popular?" Or to a question to AEW fans, do you react or care about Kenny Omega, or do you only care about? I think he referenced the V trigger and the One Ring Angel. I will first, before you respond, I will first say this is a man, ladies and gentlemen, who has only heard chants of 3D and Get the Tables. I don't think I ever heard anyone chant Bubba Ray, or chanted Bully Ray. I never remember hearing that. I remember hearing Get the Tables, We Want Tables, 3D, never about him in particular. So I think you could turn that question around and ask yourself, did anybody really ever care about Bully Ray, or did they only care about the greatest tag team finisher of all time and seeing tables get broken, or seeing him put women through tables and have an orgasmic look on his face? Like,
come on, man. Knock it off. Like, he feels like, you know what? I know we're not big fans, but I'm going to pull a Bully Ray and say I'd be okay if this was Jim Cornette saying this, because he comes from an era where that's way more important than the actual wrestling. But Bully Ray's from an era where he just said what the fuck he could to get heat in ECW, right? Do you care about the Bully Ray, or do you care about the fact that he's losing his shit in the ring, calling you fucking all types of stuff he couldn't say today? Do you care about the 3D and the WWE and putting people to the tables? Like the fact he's gonna try to be fucking Bret Hart now. Like, knock it off. Like, knock it off.
I love that. That's a great comparison. He's now Bret Hart. He's turning into Bret Hart. He's a traditionalist now.
Yeah.
We got Andrew plays 323 in the live chat here. He says, I am on Eddie Kingston's side. I think it's pretty hard not to be on Eddie Kingston's side. I mean, Bully Ray is a guy, you know, like you said, he deserves a whole bunch of credit for being a part of one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the Dudley Boys. They were tremendous and a great heel act in ECW. He had a tremendous run throughout WWE, a part of the TLC 3 that really put tag team wrestling on the same level of popularity as like a Stone Cold and The Rock at their heights in the Attitude Era, and really made the careers of Edge, Christian, and the Hardys along with them at the same time. Even his run in Impact Wrestling deserves a lot of credit. They were great as a tag team as Team 3D. He was great as a single star in Aces and Eights and becoming—
He lost that weight, yeah. He was fantastic.
Yeah, becoming the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. But in recent years, he's also the man that was responsible for booking ROH straight to hell. So I'm sorry. I can't listen to his takes. I can't listen to his takes and take it that seriously. I would feel some slight, and I would feel a little petty and throw shots at AEW too, knowing that the Elite left and all ROH was remembered for after that was your shitty booking. I would be upset with AEW as well, in my opinion, or I would be trying to pick fights with them for clout on social media or to get Tony Khan's attention to bring me into the company. That's how I view it. And speaking of throwing shots, we got the Young Bucks bio here. The Young Bucks said, looking forward to when our in-ring days are finished so we can become shock jocks and pick fights on social media for clout. Laugh my ass off. So, go ahead.
So, how dare they? They should have just said that, that whole tweet is fine. They should have just put full-time at the end, because they already do that already part-time. All of that. What are we even talking about? Knock it off.
Well, the Young Bucks have been doing a good job of getting heel heat or clout or attention themselves. Going back to what happened on AEW Dynamite this week with their opening match against Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero Miedo, what was your thoughts on the newest look, the newest addition to their look with the Young Bucks? And I should say, and I forgot to say at the top of this, happy 4th of July to everyone. Some people celebrate 4th of July with hot dogs. Some people celebrate 4th of July with hanging a flag, throwing off fireworks. The Young Bucks celebrated 4th of July early with a brand new look. Of course, we had to get a shot of Cody, our American hero. The Young Bucks celebrated Independence Day by separating themselves from their beards with their new look, the mustache. What was your thoughts on the porn stashes from Matt and Nick Jackson on this night, Jimmy?
It's appropriately ridiculous. It's to get Mick. I'm kind of here for it. I gotta be honest. At this point, I don't think Nick Jackson knew any wrong in my eyes. I'm such a fan. It's uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable.
You were once against the Young Bucks, but I've been hearing you on AE Recap slowly but surely turning your head and becoming admiring the Young Bucks with their commitment to their look and their heel act, and they brought it in this match with the porn stashes, with Brandon Cutler in their corner. This match just had a lot of fun action back and forth between the two teams. The Young Bucks pulling out the Lucha Bros finisher with the double stomp into the package power driver. You had Eddie Kingston with a cool hot tag. You had Penta flying all over the place. Even we got the Elite getting involved with the Good Brothers coming out. Chris Jericho with a great line with at first I think it was Excalibur asking what company do they work for, and then Chris Jericho responding, well, they got fired from that other company. And and then we had the Elite Hunter, Frankie Kazarian getting involved to help out Penta and Eddie Kingston. And then finally, in the end, it was Penta hitting the package power driver on Matt Jackson, following Brandon Cutler, who got frozen in time. He was frozen after spraying the cold spray in Matt Jackson's eye. He was so freaked out, he could not get his hands off the trigger, and he just kept spraying, even when he took a bump off the apron. I thought I was dying of laughter. Brandon Cutler is the appropriate amount of being a geek, in my opinion. And in the end, like I said, Penta hit the package power driver into the spinning bag fist from Eddie Kingston for Penta and Eddie to get the win. This went about 14 minutes. A whole lot of fun. I thought this was an absolute great opener. What was your thoughts on the opening matchup with Penta and Eddie Kingston getting the victory? The first time the champions have lost in one of these world title eliminator matchups to set up a title match.
Look at that picture. Look how fantastic Nick looks. Look how over the top Matt is. Jesus fucking Christ.
Nick looked like what was his name? The Tiger King. He looked like Tiger King. He looked exactly like Tiger King, in my opinion. This was great, just from their looks to the match and then the finish and everything. But what was your thoughts, Jimmy?
I have the same two thoughts I have every week. I have three thoughts, we'll say. Number one, the Elite Hunter gimmick would be infinitely better if it was Scorpio Sky. I say it every week. Nobody listens. He's doing his own thing now. I'm just saying. Number two, Matt needs to tone it down. His brother's right there. Just do what he's doing. And number three, in the ring, I have no Young Bucks complaints. Besides the fact they make Rick Knox look like a fucking moron. Outside of that, and even this time, I think he kind of did himself. That Phantom 3 count.
Yeah. I think I didn't even mention that, where it looked like Penta got the win with like the code red, and he counted 3 basically, but he said 2. I like that they play into it with the fact that Rick Knox, he's not ridiculously bad at officiating any other match he does. He's just really bad at it when the Young Bucks are in the match. Like, he's biased. It's like he's their referee. We got Adam Pearson in the live chat with us. He says everything that the Young Bucks do pisses me right off, and they're working me like a cheap mark. Yes, absolutely. I think they are the appropriate amount of obnoxious, from the look, from the mustaches. It just works. We also got MW Network saying Bully Ray just trying to finesse his way into a program with Eddie Kingston. No way BR can be serious when he went shooting on WWE during his TNA run. Kingston is right. E-Talent are clearly fed up.
Very clearly. That's why it's fucking Zelina Vega signed back up. She was so fed up.
She was so fed up and wanted unionization so much she re-signed with the company. Adam Pearson also said Bully Ray is a legend in the wrestling business, but by the same token, need to realize it's not 2007 anymore. Good point all around from you guys. Continue putting your thoughts in the live chat. But yes, how did you rate this matchup, and what's your thoughts on Kingston and Penta beating the Young Bucks? And it's the first time the tag team champions or world champions have lost like a non-title match like this.
I felt like this match was fantastically done. It was just kind of slow in the beginning, and then they kind of got all their shit in, as Brian Cage would say. And then the finish with all that, I don't want to say nonsense because that sounds mean, but all that stuff came together fantastically, I thought. Of course, Brandon Cutler and Matt Jackson had to overdo it with the spray, but you know what? I'm not going to complain about that too much. I gave it like 4 stars, if I had to guess. It was a really good match. I really enjoyed that match. And I assume they're going to have the match at one of these fucking events. There's 100 of them. I assume they'll fight at some point. I'm here for it. I don't think Penta and Kingston have a chance, but this should be fun at the very least.
Yeah, this win was great, but it does not lead me to think that they're going to get the win when the titles are actually on the line now, which is actually going to happen. One of the rare occasions. I think this is only the second time that AEW will be doing a rematch back-to-back weeks, where Penta and Kingston are going to get the shot at the Young Bucks next week in Miami for their first show on the road at Road Rager, and it's going to be a street fight. So do you think that this helps Kingston and Penta's advantage here? No, you still think the Young Bucks are gonna win?
This is a non-starter. This match is over already. I'm sorry, it's not happening. I love you, Eddie. It's just not happening.
I also don't think they're gonna win because the Young Bucks are on fire right now. Like we just said, like they are just doing everything right in my opinion. Like we were so confused. I was with you guys a bunch of times before All Out last year, where they had that false heel turn prior to like Full Gear and stuff like that when they were supposed to be feuding with the FTR. We thought they were heels, then they weren't. Then we were confused. Now we are not confused. We know exactly what side of the alignment they are on, and they're doing something every week to make you more annoyed with the Young Bucks.
Fantastic.
I've been loving it. Next segment that we had, we saw none other than the Jungle Boy following his matchup with Kenny Omega last week. He got a pep talk from none other than Christian Cage once again, saying that he will be world champion one day. Tonight is important too, though, as he said that Jungle Boy will be trying to become the first AEW superstar to win 50 matches, and the rest of the Jurassic Express, comes in with Luchasaurus thanking Christian for having Jungle Boy's back on Saturday, and Christian happens to be related to a dinosaur, so this interests Luchasaurus here. What was your thoughts on Christian Cage basically once again cutting a promo for Jungle Boy because Jungle Boy is not confident in his promo still?
Not confident. He's got the fucking charisma of flypaper, at least when he's talking. When he's wrestling, he's splendid. Well, Jesus fucking Christ. Obviously he can't talk, and that's the major part of this. But this guy, Christian, is a super professional, and he plays a fantastic face and a great heel. I cannot be the only one that thinks he sounds like a douche when he's doing these things. And I gotta believe it's intentional on his part. He sounds condescending. Like, you'll get him one day, pipsqueak. Like, that's what it feels like. It's got to be a heel turn coming, right? It just has to be.
I mean, when we look at Christian's career, has he ever really been babyface for that long? Like, even when people like to remember like his TNA run when he first came, I think he was like babyface in TNA when he first came for like 6 months. I think right after he lost the NWA World Title, he turned on Sting and was a heel immediately. So I think that it's going to take time and more promos for us to think that Christian is being genuine. He's always been a sarcastic dick for most of his career. So I think that's the issue with how these promos are coming off. So
that's fair.
We're kind of conditioned to think that Christian is, leading him into a false sense of security, it seems.
Yeah, that's true. But that's me. It also feels like the next perfect step for Jungle Boy. And Christian, quite frankly, because this ain't working, by the way. I know we'll get to that later, but Jesus fucking Christ.
We got MW Network in the live chat here saying Miss Vega went back for the bag clearly, but the false promises in 3 to 6 months will result to like everyone else on the roster being misused and fed up with WWE direction, which seems to be a theme, I guess.
And then what happens? Vince throws in the bag, or whoever Vince gives the bag to, and then they run back like a bunch of never mind.
Yeah, it's true. He also says Bully Ray thinks he's slick, got his viral moment shooting on Eddie to set up heat for a future match and save face at the same time with WWE. He's trying to position himself to get, a backstage role like Devon has. I'm not knocking it. I just got to call out the hypocrisy. That's why I got me on YouTube to point this stuff out. Next segment we had the Men of the Year for a chat about Ethan Page's match against Darby Allin, which was supposed to happen in Miami at Road Rager. Page says he's sick of trying to get rid of Darby Allin, so it's time to try to exterminate him. After everything he's put Allin through, both here on the independent scene, Page says he needs to do more. He says every time Allin tries the coffin drop, it's going to get even worse and worse. He says that he wants to be in his head and he wants him to think about him every time he even tries to do the coffin drop. So that's why he wants to do this coffin match. And then here comes Sting! And he's pulling a coffin. We then get a little vignette of Darby Allin working on a special coffin for the coffin match. And then Allin is, of course, inside of the coffin that Sting has. They clear house. Sting hits the Scorpion Death Drop on Scorpio Sky while Allen plies at the eyes with his nails into Ethan Page's eyes here, and this leads to Ethan Page saying that he knew that Darby would do this, so now the coffin match is off for next week in Miami, and he says that Allen will have to agree to not touch him before the match, and maybe they can do this at Fyter Fest. It was later revealed that part of the reason why AEW possibly did this is that there was a condo collapse with multiple people dying in Miami. So they thought that having a coffin match in Miami following this would be, not in the best taste, which I thought was a great move. They didn't have to say it. They didn't, put it out there about it. They did it in a logical way that puts heel heat on Ethan Page. So what did you think about the promo from Ethan Page first, and then the interactions between Darby Allin and him?
This promo in particular is why I'm glad we're leaving Daly's place. These fans are very unappreciative. They wouldn't let the great Ethan Page talk. They're interrupting, and they're making it about themselves. It is what it is. Don't do that. They're making it about themselves. Look how clever we are. We're going to bring back the what thing every time he talks. Oh. But first, Austin's one of the ghosts. But that's the worst thing he's ever brought to the wrestling business. I'm sorry.
I agree.
It is, to be fair, it's much better now than it was 15 years ago. But
yeah.
I hadn't considered the coffin thing. I just assumed somebody was hurt and we couldn't do the match. I don't particularly like Ethan Page being somehow be able to call when and where this match happens. I'm not entirely sure how that works.
Well, he was the one that made the challenge, to be fair.
Yeah, and then he accepted. Did he not sign anything? Does he have booking power? Is he a fucking EVP? Is that how this works?
The contract wasn't signed. They were going to sign it after the show, so he's changing the terms.
I gotta be honest, I hated the segment though. I thought Page Strong was fine. I can't go that far. I didn't like Sting bringing the coffin out. Didn't we all know Darby was in there? As soon as he brought it out, it was immediate. Didn't think twice about it.
Yes, 100%.
This segment should be rearranged, but it's too early for me to even think about how I'd rearrange it. It's just, it didn't work in the order it flowed. Everything was fine, just not in that order. If that makes any sense.
No, it does. It does. I can understand that. I mean, I didn't particularly need Sting, but it has been a couple of weeks since we saw Sting, and that's better than
catchphrase now. He showed up. Yeah, we didn't need Sting, but he was there, right? It's cool, right?
He's here. I love it. That's the point. It's all about Sting just being here. That's what it's all about. But I did like this, and I know you've been a big fan of Ethan Page as of late. What's been the turning point for you as far as your new love of Ethan Page?
You know what? I'll tell you what promo. First of all, the Roar took him to epic level. This is what it is. I can't even get over why I like that so much. I think it was the promo where he talked about fucking Darby's head up. It was so. First of all, it was like it revealed something to me that I didn't know before, and you kind of get the vibe that he's a psychopath behind a quarterback's face. Like you just something off about this motherfucker, and they just work those eyes. Something off about this motherfucker. I like him. I'm here for it.
I agree. That was a great segment when he threw Darby down the stairs between the promo and then that spot. I think that was a turning point for the Men of the Year. I was not convinced of them. I've always been a fan of Ethan Page, especially from his time in Evolve when I first discovered him, and then his run in Impact Wrestling with the North was one of the best tag teams of the past couple of years. So when they put him in another tag team, and it's not with Josh Alexander, it's with Scorpio Sky, who was good in his own tag team with Frankie Kazarian and SCU. So you're you got two guys that were in tag teams that were better than this. I don't think this works. But I would say that promo, the matchup at Double or Nothing was really good. And then their promos ever since, they seem to be starting to gel. So I have been more on board with the Men of the Year. But I do agree with what you said on the last AE recap. Obviously, Ethan Page is the star here, though.
Easily. Easily.
I love it. Next segment up, we had Jungle Boy versus Jack Evans. This was a pretty cool matchup. I thought it was a lot of fun. I did like the fact that we're seeing Jungle Boy a week after his world title match. Whether it's been like world title matches, world tag team title matches, TNT title, or the women's championship, whenever somebody loses one of those championships, they immediately are not on the next show. And of course, we had to bring up that Jungle Boy was trending worldwide following the matchup with Kenny Omega, not just for his performance, his star-making performance, but the fact that he is I want to put this appropriately, kissing and involved with Anna Jay, number 99 of the Dark Order. What was your thoughts on the kiss heard round the wrestling dweebs world, with all the people upset that Darby, that their dream of being with Anna Jay was crushed by the Jungle Boy?
See, Jungle Boy's winning at life. Congratulations to you, sir. What is he, 12? And like he's kissing Anna Jay, he's wrestling Kenny Omega, and he can only go up from here. I feel like I'm watching something special. Especially since JR and Chris Jericho keep trying to get over this Jack Perry name that none of these dummies will fucking follow their lead on. I'm here for it. Anna Jay, check you out. You know what? If he somehow turns heel at some point, by the way, which shouldn't happen, by the way, he's a fantastic face, but down the road, and they're still together. How fantastic is that as a gimmick? He's walking around with Anna Jay. Are you kidding me? Yes to all of that.
Hey, he's already a heel apparently to Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette said that the fans weren't going to cheer for Jungle Boy now that they know he's not a bachelor. And the fans at Daly's Place proved Jim Cornette wrong once again as they sang to Jungle Boy's theme. I had to mention that to you because you.
Oh my God, Jim Cornette swears it's perpetually 1965. And they found out fucking Bruno Sammartino's a dickhead, so they're not gonna be like, what? This is not how this works. This is not how this works. What the fuck? He's not a bachelor anymore, so what? That's not even his gimmick.
But yes, this match was, like I said, was a lot of fun. Jack Evans was a good heel foil for the Jungle Boy, and he wins the match once again with the snare trap, making Jack Evans tap out. Jungle Boy is the first AEW wrestler to 50 wins. It has the most wins of any AEW wrestler, and it's been quite a credit to AEW with the way they've been positioning Jungle Boy following his matchup and this huge win right here. What was your thoughts on the match and the fact that Jungle Boy is the first to 50 wins?
I thought it was a really good match. I am surprised when Jack Evans instead of Angelico. Always. I thought he was on the bench. Evans was. And to be fair, every Jack Evans match, since he's, I don't want to say lost his touch. I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for is, but it's close enough. Yeah. Has added suspense because you're just waiting for the fuck up to happen. And it didn't happen. So I'm just like, it's over. What a match. That was a really good match. It worked. And 50 wins. Jim kept saying 50-0. Jesus. Cocaine hadn't quite wore off yet. It worked. Jungle Boy, particularly being 50-0. I like it. Either him or you can go with like somebody who's not from WWE. It works for Jungle Boy, especially.
Yeah, I think that it in a nutshell, this whole night between like this match and the main event and the last segment that we saw, we are seeing the guys that they told us like back in 2019 when AEW first came on Dynamite, who were the stars of the future. They kind of told us it was Sammy, it was Jungle Boy, MJF, and Darby Allin, and more they are putting those guys out in the forefront and making sure we know that they are on the rise. It might not be a quick rise, some are going to be quicker than others, but with Jungle Boy, I think a lot of people are involved in the ride. Like it says there, engage with the show, drop us a like if you're watching us on YouTube, drop us a like, a heart emoji, a laugh emoji, an angry emoji, however you're feeling. If you're angry like Bully Ray, give us an angry emoji on Facebook. If you're watching us on Twitter, drop us a heart emoji. Show some love. It helps the channel. It helps this video get out to other people, and we always appreciate the love. After the matchup with Jungle Boy and Jack Evans, which I will say also was the appropriate amount of time, I know that's been a complaint for you that a lot of different matches go longer than it needs to. 6 minutes was perfect for this matchup. That's what it needed to be. Jungle Boy looks strong. Following the matchup, we had the Hardy family office come out for a brawl, but Christian and the rest of the Jurassic Express comes in for a bigger brawl between the two factions. Christian gets the upper hand on Matt Hardy, choking him out with his suit jacket until Jack Evans makes the save, allowing Hardy to escape. How have you been feeling about this whole feud between Christian and Matt Hardy?
It cannot be a coincidence that the two guys who I felt this the most about are Sting and Christian. I feel like we're doing the same thing every week. And it feels like they just have to be on the show. Now, I'm not talking about Sting now. I'm talking about Sting, when he first showed up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because they popped some rating. I don't know the ratings like you do. Outside of the fact that Cash told me the Young Bucks had the lowest rating on the Saturday show. Their quarter rating was 598,000. I'm just saying, these are facts. I don't know. It just is what it is.
The Young Bucks were just in a promo segment on the Saturday Night Dynamite. How did he look that up? Like, literally, they were on the show for 30 seconds.
Yeah, most rated 30 seconds on the show.
No, it wasn't. It actually wasn't.
I don't know if it wasn't. I just know
it was a part of an overall segment that was probably the lowest rated. But that was just that's a weird flex for him to make.
He just sent to me randomly, by the way. Just like, no hello, no nothing. I haven't talked to you in a week. This is the first thing he sent me. Yeah, but Christian and Matt Hardy already was a bad idea to begin with. And now this feud is dragging. They've done the same thing at least 2 episodes in a row. And it doesn't work. At least not Daily's place. Maybe it'll work on the road, but whatever goodwill Christian had built up ain't enough. They don't care. They don't give a fuck. Neither do I, except I'm forced to watch this because Go Bigger had the nerve to win at the pay-per-view.
The nerve, the unmitigated gall. Oh, man. I do agree with you. Something's not working about this Matt Hardy and Christian feud. The way they are pacing it, it seems like they may be saving like the matchup between them for the pay-per-view.
Yes,
this just comes off like a TV match and not even a TV main event. Maybe an opener at best, but like middle of the show type of matchup. And Christian, a guy before Double or Nothing, I felt would be like one of the guys that would be in contention to verse Omega at All Out. I've completely gone off of that train. That Omega and Christian, that's another one that feels like that's a TV main event at the very least, but it's definitely not a pay-per-view world title matchup at this point of where Christian's at.
So I'm sad. I love Christian. That's my guy.
He's my guy too, but facts are facts, and it is what it is. I did like this post match a whole lot better than them ruining the Jungle Boy Kenny Omega finish by doing that whole brawl at the end of the show. That made no sense, and if it wasn't for Nick Jackson's Jeff Hardy impersonation, I would have completely been done with that. Next up, we had, oh my God, there he is. There's the Tiger King himself. Nick Jackson.
That's a world champion. I know he'll never do it, but he just is.
Hey, he was part of one of the best Dynamite matches of all time with Rey Fenix, so I don't care. I'd be so with a Nick Jackson title run. Next up, we had one of my favorite segments of the whole entire night. It was MJF's promo where he talks about how he infiltrated the Inner Circle and started his own stable with the Pinnacle. And he says it amazes him, basically talking about how somebody went from, a cartoon, a Looney Tunes version of himself, and now some of the things that they've done in their career. And you think he's talking about Sammy, but he's talking about Chris Jericho in the end. MJF says he's feeling generous though and is willing to give Jericho some stipulations to get one more match against him, and if Jericho can meet those, which he won't, he says he has to leave MJF alone once MJF beats him again. But he said that's for next week, though, because tonight, Sammy Guevara has to learn that while he's the future, and he actually does agree that Sammy Guevara is the future of AEW, what tonight is going to prove is that MJF is the now. And MJF was so on fire in this promo. This was so great. He accomplished the goal of setting up next week's face-to-face with Chris Jericho, hyping up the main event, making Sammy Guevara look good, and he gave us a cool callback with the whole Jericho that he plans to give Jericho stipulations. That's a callback to his feud with Cody last year. What did you think about this promo from MJF?
Halfway through it, I was like, this is a really good promo. Outside of the fact that you have not mentioned Sammy once, and that's the whole point of this fucking promo. It should be the whole point. Then he brings up Sammy, and he just went off. And I apologize. That was a fantastic promo all around. You did everything you were supposed to do, and more, quite frankly. I'm not sure how I feel about Jericho and MJF just yet. You kind of have to do the match. You can't not do the match. So we'll see. We'll see how Jericho looks. But
hopefully after the match we saw on this night, hopefully Jericho and MJF can live up to that, because their first match at Full Gear was passable. I think that's a word I've been hearing you say a lot. Yeah, passable would be a good word for that. Next up, we had another promo. Next up, we had another promo segment with Andrade, this time Andrade El Idolo, in English and Spanish with subtitles, and he wants to face Matt Sydal, or as he calls him, Matt something, at Road Rager in Miami. He calls Miami the city of heat, the city of Latinos, and next week he will prove himself as the number one idol in AEW. What do you think about Andrade's first match being against Matt something next week at Road Rager?
I love the Matt something. It's just hilarious to me. I'm not entirely sure why. I think because I completely buy he doesn't know his last name.
Doesn't know how to say it.
Yes. Is it just me? And I'm not a flowery type, but I don't like the subtitles for people who speak English.
Yeah,
I just don't. They did it with Sheet, I think, and I don't with. I just don't. It comes across bad, we'll say. Very not AEW like. I thought the promo was fine. I wish you just do it in Spanish. You can have fucking subtitles. I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? Like, you can just have them be more comfortable in the language you feel like speaking, and you have your subtitles, and it's a win. It's a fine match. I probably wouldn't have made it Matt Sydal, but I'm sure it'd be a good match because Matt Sydal has been on a roll, what I've seen recently.
And something I know you're not the biggest fan of Dave Meltzer, but I did have to mention his idea that he thinks that Conan would be a better manager for Andrade than Vicky Guerrero. What would you?
I would be a better manager for fucking Andrade than Vicky Guerrero, but Uncle Dave was correct. Conan would be fucking fantastic.
Yes, I love me some Conan, and his promo on Saturday Night Dynamite. Oh my God, perfection, perfection. And speaking, oh my God, we got the meme here. There is nothing in your life that will top seeing a live WWE Dynamite.
Leave the man alone.
Next up, we had one of my other favorite segments of the night. I did tell you before the show that the opener and the main event were great, but I felt like between the MJF promo and then this one and then the follow-up to this were probably one of the highlights of the night, as well as Tony Schiavone brings out AEW World Champion Kenny Omega with of course his questionable facial hair. Some people said that he looked like Triple H of 2005, and Kenny Omega says that he was paying homage to actually Harley Race, which makes a lot more sense, and it makes sense. Yeah, Harley Race had that type of facial hair as well. So yeah, that makes more sense to me than Triple H, in my opinion. But Omega talks about how earlier today, Tony asked him how he stayed motivated to find that next gear, and Tony said, "I didn't ask anything to you today." and Omega lists off everyone he has beaten. He says that he's beaten the best high flyer. He's beaten the best athlete outside of himself in AEW. He's beaten the best merch mover. Now he's beaten the best up and coming star in AEW. And he says that there is no one left in the rankings to face, and that means that he's going to take some time off from around here, and he'll go defend his other titles at the moment. This bring out the Dark Order, with Evil Uno saying there are some challenges left for Omega. Omega laughs that off as the fans started to chant for some cowboy shit. Uno admits that they don't have the singles wins, talking about the Dark Order, to make that work, but they know someone who does. I thought Omega with a great line with a callback saying that, is Five going to challenge me? He wouldn't last 2 minutes in the ring with me, as a callback to his matchup last year with Alan Angels that went 6 minutes, where multiple people complained about him giving him too much. So I thought that, huh?
I remember being longer than that.
I think it was like 6-7 minutes. It was like 6-7 minutes. People made it seem like it was the 30-minute match, but it was only like 6-7 minutes. But yes, he made that little ode to that. And then Omega, talking to Evil Uno, says he knows who they mean, but doesn't think that he has the guts to face him. This is where Omega bids them goodbye and good night, and that's that. And I thought that this was a great segment with a great tease. Of course, Evil Uno and the Dark Order were referring to Hangman Page, the #1 ranked Hangman Page, but they never mentioned him, and neither did Omega this entire segment. So what did you think about this promo exchange?
Before I forget, I want to give Kenny Omega credit, because he was about to leave the ring, like just step outside. Then he said, "I'm a heel, let's not do that," and then made them all move as he walks through. Which I thought was hilarious. I think I owe. Not gonna Omega credit for this. He's booking his own stuff. It made all the Hangman stuff work, and to be fair to these dummies in the audience, they also made the segment work. Because if it was silent, I don't think it comes across as good as it comes across.
Yeah,
we all know who he's talking about, and we're all ready for it. And his name was never mentioned. I was bothered by until obviously we got to follow him, but it worked. Kenny Omega, I was disappointed. Disappointed, is that the right word? I'm not sure. We'll go with it. The first month or so of his title reign, ever since then, it has literally just been completely uphill. Like, just he's not missed a beat. Promos have gotten better. He feels more comfortable. Like, he's finally figured out who this character is supposed to be. It's some type of weird mix between his act. Him calling them video game nerds is hilarious. It just is. It works if you know what he's talking about, and it works if he's just a douche. Insulting people about video games.
and the fact that he's a real life video game nerd.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you know that, it's hilarious. If you don't, he's just a dick. It works. I'm here for it.
I totally agree with you. Some people say, "Oh, Kenny Omega can't cut promos." Well, you don't know good promos then, because he comes off like an '80s over-the-top villain. Like he's like a movie villain in the way that he talks down to people. It's both hilarious and it just works on a visceral level, in my opinion. I love that visceral word. That's the word of this live stream here. We got John Aries in the live chat saying, "I thought the end of this portion of the segment with Kenny leaving the ring without Evil Uno responding to him and getting the last word was clunky." I thought it was perfect, the way, like Jimmy said, the little touch that Omega looked like he was about to go on the opposite end of the ring, but instead told them to move out the way. I'm the champ. It's part like the Red Sea, and let me get the fuck out of here. We got Rachel Cornell joining us. What's up, Rachel? She says, "Hey everyone." We also got Powered 4 TV saying good evening from the UK. Hope you are both doing well. We hope you are doing well as well. That's John Scott behind the 1s and 2s. So yes, keep bringing in those thoughts on All Elite Wrestling Wednesday Night Dynamite as we chat it up here. We will follow up on that segment. I'll go right into it with that segment, because I thought that this was the perfect putting together of the two segments, as later on in the night we had an interview with the Dark Order, which Hangman Page came in and confronted them and asked them why would they do something so stupid, and basically they responded like, no, they didn't do anything stupid. They were doing it for Hangman, and Hangman asked them, do they think that he's scared of Kenny Omega, which Colt Cabana responds and says, no, we think that you're scared of failing. And Evil Uno brings up how he brought propped up Evil Uno after his loss against Miro and told him to get back on the horse. And that's just like he said to Evil Uno that he has his back. They have Hangman's back, and they know that it's time for him to go after the AEW World Championship, and he just has to get back on that horse, which I thought was a great analogy considering he's the millennial cowboy. It was just great stuff. I thought it was perfect, just them walking out and leaving Hangman there to kind of think about everything. I thought everything about this entire segment was on the money. And immediately after, I think I messaged you and Cash. It was just like, it's happening. It's happening. Hangman and Kenny Omega. It seems like we are finally on the road to the matchup that we've all been waiting for. What was your thoughts on this backstage segment?
Have you ever seen My Hero Academia?
I've seen segments of it. Yes.
Well, most animes are super violent. This was it's nostalgic, even though it's not from your childhood, and it's very wholesome. And this felt very wholesome to me, and I'm not a wholesome guy. And I gotta be honest, I was just happy watching it. I was like, this is perfectly booked. Hangman should be pissed off because he's fucking fighting himself, essentially. And then they all kind of propped him up, explain to him why he feels the way he feels. You're not afraid of Omega, obviously. You're afraid of failure, and it's all right. You'll be all right. We believe in you. It's fucking, if the Dark Order's going to work, this is how it should work. Isn't the whole point of the group to fucking boost up losers? And it works. I love that segment.
I think you said the best word for it. It just felt so wholesome. Like it was just like if you watch that segment and didn't go, "Aw," like come on, it's like Hangman Page left the Elite because they weren't good friends to him. And now he has the best friends in the world. One of my colleagues over on Wrestling Daily, Stephanie Chase, said, Kenny Omega has all these friends, and his friends always help him win matches. But who has just as many friends as him now? Hangman Page. Hangman Page is like Snow White, and he has his 7 dwarfs, which are the Dark Order. It's just so wholesome. It makes you feel like, oh my God, they're the best friends that he always wanted. He always needed. Like it just works so well. And I've been hearing some sentiment online that people think that it's too soon to do this at All Out. What's your thoughts on that? Because in my opinion, I think that this is perfect timing because All Out has become this. It's summing up them. Yes, it's perfect. It's perfect, and he's taller than nearly all of them. I think Stu Grayson is the only one that's close. So yes. I think that it's the perfect timing because this has kind of been an event that kind of defines Hangman's career because 2 years ago, All Out 2019, he loses the first ever AEW World Title match against Chris Jericho. Last year at All Out, him and Omega lose the AEW World Tag Team titles and Omega walks out on him. And now 1 year later, it's finally time to do Omega versus Page 2. In my eyes, it's probably one of the best long-term booking world title matches in almost a decade, probably.
Jesus.
I think I watch a lot of wrestling, so I can't think of anything that's like 2 years in the making like this.
Well, to be fair, I haven't watched wrestling in the last 2 years. I have no comment.
That is true.
Too early? First of all, no. If you said 2 and then no. If early is the next word about no. Gotta be honest, I would have thought it was too late, but the reaction he got at the fucking pay-per-view, this way it was done at Dynamite, I'm hoping that we're all on the same page now. It fits perfectly. Don't do anything where Omega's still scared. He got the perfect pep talk. He should be completely on board out on Omega. Hangman's still scared. He got the perfect pep talk from Dark Order. I want Hangman, the next time we see him, to be whipped to shits completely. Whatever happens will happen. Don't do the Young Bucks thing when you back up after you already took a step. No. We're going this way now. I'm here for it. He's got to win, right? He's got to win this match.
I think they have time to kind of like space it out and pace it in the right way because they got like 2 months before All Out. I think they should make the announcement of the match like in the next like 3 3 weeks, month tops, like 4 weeks, like probably the last of these special events that they have. They should make the announcement for the All Out match. But I just think between now and then, we need to see more segments with him in the Dark Order, them trying to like give him more confidence, and he needs to pick up maybe like 1 or 2 more wins to give him that confidence and to make him believe that he can beat Kenny Omega. But I just think that this, yeah, I agree with you. It can't be too early because, you know, there's a lot of people that felt like they waited too long with Hangman Page. But like you said, the fans being in attendance have really shown that he is hot once again, and it's time to pull the trigger. We even got Romeo in the chat here saying strike while the iron is hot. Yes, because there's been too many examples throughout history of them waiting, of any wrestling company waiting too long to pull the trigger on something. We got John Aries saying, I don't want them to pull the trigger on Omega versus Hangman, only because I have loved how this story has been told, but I can hardly wait. It's going to be epic. Yeah, I mean, they could wait till Full Gear, but that's not like a tentpole type of pay-per-view, in my opinion, for AEW. It's either got to be at Double or Nothing or All Out, and All Out feels like it's like a big enough pay-per-view, and the story is there of the last 2 years of Omega, of Page failing in multiple ways, so I think it's time. Of course, we got the president of the Paul Brother campaign here, Jimmy Macram. You might have not seen him before. It's Brett Thomas. He says, how you doing? Hangman versus Omega sucks. Jake Paul versus Omega would sell more buy rates. Yes.
No shit. Yeah. Jake Paul versus me would sell more buy rates. People fucking love to hate this guy. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly, but not in wrestling. I think maybe a boxing match between them. So maybe we got we got some other chats here. We got Honest Bound Reasonable saying, who's responsible for JR being in AEW? Tony Khan.
JR is the greatest of all time, you person who watches the channel that I'm not trying to sabotage.
I love how you took your foot off the gas there. You're like I could go more visceral, but I won't.
So we're the show.
Yeah, we're gonna keep finding new ways to say visceral. Next up, we can finally move on now. We had Brian Pillman Jr. cutting what I thought was a cool babyface promo, saying that he didn't like Miro putting his hands on Griff Garrison. He says that you're a man of faith, but the only people that's ever been there for me were my teammates and my friends, so I'm going to fight for Griff Garrison, who's been like a brother to him. And this isn't about the TNT championship because this is personal. Following that, we had the matchup between Miro and Brian Pillman Jr. for the TNT Championship, which I thought was a lot of fun, and it gave Brian Pillman a lot of different offense. He hit the Chris Jericho springboard dropkick to the outside on Miro. Then he hit a cool-looking baseball dropkick to the outside. He hit a few super kicks, but Miro caught him with one of his own and then locked in game over for the victory in about 8.5 minutes. I thought that this was a pretty good matchup. Pillman got to look good in between here, but I've been loving Miro's God's favorite champion gimmick. I think this is the Miro that we always wanted when he was Rusev, and we are finally seeing it come to fruition. So what was your thoughts on this matchup with Pillman and Miro?
Jeez, look at that picture. I fucking love Miro. He's easily outside of, you know what? I was gonna fucking qualify with a Go Baker. We wouldn't even booking her. He's easily my favorite part of Dynamite week in and week out. While the match wasn't great, it always does its job. He's kind of booked like I thought Archer was gonna be booked when he first got here. And the gimmick works. His commitment to it works. Especially the way he treats Aubrey, by the way. Just as awful as he can. He doesn't hand her the belt. They just want to deal with her under any circumstance. He didn't hand her the belt. He handed it to Justin Roberts, who didn't hand her the belt. Don't raise my hand. He gets in her face. He's staring up at the sky as he holds the belt. He's just fantastic. And I thought Pillman looked good, too. I thought Miro gave him just enough where you're not burying this poor bastard. But clearly he's not in the same book as Miro. I'm here for it.
Yeah, you can't make him on the same level as Miro. Miro has been an absolute beast. I'm just so happy for him because, you know, so many people were down on him with the best man gimmick. But I think this is why I can't always agree with you with your disdain for Tony Khan. He did say that he was just biding his time with Miro. He said he just needed to find the right place to put him, and ever since then we've been seeing upward trajectory for Miro. But this run with the TNT Championship has been really, really good so far, and I've been enjoying it a lot. Yeah. So next up, we had the aforementioned segment with Hangman Page and the Dark Order, but following that, we had a good promo segment with Team Taz. And he's saying that they're not at full strength, but sometimes family has to fight to clean things up, and that's why on July 14th, Brian Cage will be defending the FTW Championship against a medically cleared Ricky Starks. I thought that this was a good promo, but the highlight of it was none other than Hook. Hook just said one thing throughout this thing. He just looks at his dad and he's like, "I'm fed up," and I loved it. I was like, Hook is just awesome. Why is Hook so awesome? And he hasn't done anything yet. I just love me some. What was your thoughts on this segment?
I thought it was good. Taz is always good, and Hook and Hobbs played their role fine. First of all, I cannot express to you how disappointed I've been with the way they've done the FTW Championship. I thought they were going to do more with it, especially when they had Cody come out at one point. This is going to be a whole gimmick thing where we get this thing like a real championship, but whatever. I am here for Starks versus Cage. Starks being clear, I'm so happy. We got to get some next week. I need Starks and Cage to interact next week, preferably in the ring. And I'm okay with that. With the light hitting you, it just looks hilarious. Yeah, I'm here for it. You know what? I hope it's a big booking point too. Either Cage officially leaves, or he officially gets kicked out, or however we're going to do it. Starks takes the belt, and we're done. We're done with Brian Cage. I mean, we have another match again, has to be, you have to go.
Yeah, I think this is setting up for them to jump Brian Cage and put the FTW title on Ricky Starks, which I would be down for. I love a Ricky Starks push. I'm all for. All right, but next up, I think that we can both agree was the low light of this episode, as it was a tag team matchup with Rebel and Britt Baker, the AEW. The AEW World Women's Champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, versus Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. For weeks, this has been promoted, and a lot of people thought that we were going to see some type of bait and switch with Vicky not being in this matchup. But no, we had Vicky in this match. Right from the start, Baker jumps Vicky while Rebel can choke on fail to choke Nyla Rose. Towards the end of this matchup, Rebel comes in and tries to break up a pin by Nyla Rose, and she dislocates her kneecap in a fatal for her incident. I mean, she went down very quickly. Smart on Nyla Rose to kind of pull her over to the side so the doctor can look at her, but she never got up again in this matchup. And in this match, I thought they booked this kind of backwards, where they made Britt Baker kind of like the chicken shit heel, while Nyla Rose was like this badass. She hit a ridiculous knee drop from the top ropes on a hanging Britt Baker. Almost looked like she decapitated Baker at one point. But in the end, when Rebel went down, Baker became the babyface and took out both ladies. She took out Nyla Rose. She locked on the lockjaw on Vicky Guerrero to get the victory in about 7 minutes. I don't know what the plan was here, but to ask Vicky Guerrero to do this long of a match at her age, I'm just very much confused. And I'm very much confused on the entire booking of Britt Baker since she became the AEW World Women's Champion. First of all, what was your thoughts on this matchup, Jimmy? And then overall, what has been your thoughts on Britt Baker's run as champion so far?
I feel like I'm being punished, and I guess I understand why. I have been a little over the top, my Colt Baker love, and they decided to bring me down to earth. All right, the match. First of all, you sold me on this being a surprise because they have been hyping this match like this is a deal, even though nobody wants to see this. And then I actually like the beginning of it. I was quite fond of Go Bigger cheap shotting Vicky. It's hilarious. And then it just went to shit. Rebel getting hurt. It's kind of a fantastic analogy for this whole idea. Like, this is the bad idea to begin with. Only two people in this ring are actually wrestlers. I'm actually down. It's hard for me to talk about. But I will say this. I'm going to give them a pass for the finish because Rebel hurt. I assume you got to change some things. So I go big. It looks like an animal out there. However, let's say Nyla's not a complete ass to Layla Hirsch a couple of weeks ago, which she shouldn't have been to begin with. And instead is a more anti-hero in the middle tweener thing. This match comes off infinitely better. I think the power of the fucking Go Bigger afterwards feels almost like a babyface spot. Like, you know what? She's been to cut this whole match. Here, take this stupid only way out. And we're going to have our title match at some point. This has been a mess. And who books the women's division? Am I supposed to blame Sheeta for this? I would imagine not so much as she's not the champion anymore. So I guess I'll have to blame, I don't know, Tony Khan. If I had to pull a name out of my fucking hat.
I think Kenny Omega also has his hand in the women's division.
I mean, Kenny has other things to do. He's focused on championship and this fucking thing. It's not his fault. Why don't you stop going on the fucking Bully Ray show and actually sit down in front of a pen and paper at some point? Oh shit, the whole heels. I totally forgot. Jesus.
Lovely. Post-match, Rose lays out Baker again. She hits a power bomb in the ring and then a power bomb off the apron through a table at ringside. And Rebel is escorted out and taken to the back. Like I said, it was reported that she had a dislocated kneecap. She's going to be out for a number of weeks, potentially months. So, we send our best to Rebel because she's an intricate part of this entire act with Britt Baker. But we all know she loves her crushes, and now there's no reason for them.
That should work. Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Consider how hurt she was. Do we not think that was supposed to be her going to the table, Rebel?
Possibly, I do think so. Yeah, it probably should have been Rebel more than Baker. Baker should have just ran off. And then she puts Rebel through the table. So yeah, that probably makes more sense. Next up, they hyped up the lineup for Road Rager, which they have big matches lined up for next week. Like I said, the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line as the Young Bucks defend against Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero Miedo in a street fight. You also got Andrade versus Matt Sydal in Andrade's debut. You also got Cody versus QT Marshall in a Miami strap match. And then they also announced the Inner Circle in a 6-man tag team matchup. Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Hager with Conan in their corner will verse Wardlow and FTR with Tully Blanchard in their corner. We then get the Inner Circle with a promo saying they're ready for the 6-man tag because it's time for some revenge, and they'll have their dogs around to deal with Tully Blanchard too. What do you think about this 6-man tag team matchup and the focus that's been put on Santana and Ortiz versus FTR lately?
I love that fucking promo, first of all. Let me start there. I thought that was the best Jake Hager sounded ever. Maybe it's the haircut, but ever. And then Santana, we also say this every week, is a star. I don't know when it's going to happen, but those two versus FTR feels like a TV main event. I don't know when it'll happen, but it should happen. And I kind of want Santana Ortiz to go over.
I do too.
Right?
There's only been one tag team to defeat the FTR, and that's the Young Bucks. And this would be a huge win for Santana Ortiz. I think that the way they've been delaying this, honestly, this feels like a pay-per-view matchup for me. Like Santana and Ortiz, you do Santana and Ortiz versus FTR at All Out. The winner versus the Young Bucks in New York at the Stadium Show on September 22nd. And you do Santana and Ortiz in their hometown versus the Young Bucks. And that's where you change the titles. I got goosebumps thinking about me.
That feels like the fucking best case scenario. I'm here for that. God damn it. They'd be so.
Come on, you hire me. I'll take the pen. I'll take the pen. I'll take the pen. But I would say overall, though, between this promo, what they've been doing with FTR and Santana and Ortiz, as well as like the push for Sammy Guevara and what we saw in this main event, they've really turned me around on the whole Pinnacle versus Inner Circle feud, which I wasn't too high on. I thought that they did the Blood and Guts match first, didn't make a whole lot of sense. I didn't think Stadium Stampede was quite as good as last year. We got John Aries saying my suggestion that would be perfect. Yes, just tell Tony Khan to hire me, guys. CM says I think something will happen and they won't fight on Wednesday. It'll be on pay-per-view. No, Wednesday is going to be a 6-man tag. I'm talking about the tag team match between Santana and Ortiz versus FTR. But yeah, I think the 6-man tag will happen. But what has been your thoughts on the Inner Circle versus Pinnacle rivalry since Double or Nothing, Jimmy?
The fact that they've kind of decided, and they kind of started from a view where it's no longer like a gang feud. It's instead 4 individual feuds going on at once. It's just improved everything tremendously for me. And it's kind of given everybody their own moments. We got the cage match with Hager and Wardlow. A lot of focus on fucking FTR and Proud and Powerful. It's turned me around. I just feel like that was Double or Nothing was like a derailment, and instead of a derailment this time it's a road bump. Essentially, we got it out of the way. We fucked up. Now we're off to bigger and better things. Only something was booking.
And speaking of bigger and better things, we got the main event of the evening, one of the best hyped main events in quite some time on AEW Dynamite. Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF versus Sammy Guevara. Well over almost a year of buildup before this matchup. It was Sammy who originally knew that MJF was no good for the Inner Circle. MJF was the one that got Sammy originally out of the Inner Circle, and now these two men would finally meet one-on-one for the first time. And boy, oh boy, did this one deliver. It started off very weirdly with a mat exchange as they exchanged little working over the arm. You had MJF doing his little Ric Flair, Jeff Jarrett strut. Sammy Guevara flipped out of a move and did a strut of his own. They both did like kip ups at the same time. But once they went to the floor and started brawling, this was nonstop action and just a whole lot of fun to watch. Sammy Guevara hit a very cool double springboard cutter for a 2 count. He also did another like springboard into a Canadian destroyer. In one of the best spots that I've seen all year, Sammy Guevara knocked MJF into the crowd and did a springboard flip dive from the ring to the outside into the crowd on MJF and didn't hit any of the fans around them. Just perfect. RVD in ECWS, Bryan Danielson in Ring of Honor, as Sammy Guevara was working his ass off and having the match of his career, in my opinion.
Rob Van Dam, listen to True Hill Heat. Pow.
I love that little cut in by our producer. Very nice. Oh, but yes, this one was just nonstop action. MJF also just kept up with Sammy Guevara throughout this one, and he really lived up to like being a future main eventer because Sammy Guevara, we know he's just an extraordinary athlete, but MJF, he can sometimes be like considered like a Miz type performer and a guy that has main event talent as far as his look and his promo skills, but his in-ring work doesn't match up with that. But he totally put that argument to shame in this one. He was just working his ass off. He hits a super tombstone power driver from the top rope and only gets a 2 count after he bangs up his knee on this move. Just awesome near fall. And Sammy then gets the advantage after MJF can never get his footing right after banging up his knee. He hits the go to hell. He only gets a 2 count as he got too overzealous and put MJF's foot on the ropes himself, making a fatal mistake for himself. Then he hits a crazy 630 splash with MJF begging him off in the middle of it, which I thought was incredible. At this point, Chris Jericho sees Shawn Spears coming down to the ring, and he gets up from commentary to cut him off. But Wardlow is there to jump Jericho from behind and throw him off the not very tall platform by the fans. Jericho selling it, well, due to mostly to his banged up arm from blood and guts. Spears behind the referee's back hits Guevara with the steel chair for MJF to get the victory in just over 20 minutes. I thought this was a fantastic main event in every single way. These guys delivered in a huge way, really showed themselves as a future world title match, in my opinion, for AEW. Sammy Guevara had the match of his career. MJF proved once again why he is one of the top guys in All Elite Wrestling. What was your thoughts on Sammy versus MJF here?
I couldn't figure out why. It was a great match. I couldn't figure out why I felt the way I felt watching it. And in 2000, I don't remember. When did fucking TNA come to FS1? Whenever that was.
2005, yeah.
I was watching AJ Styles versus, I want to say, The Amazing Red. And I felt the same way. This is different. And I'm thoroughly enjoying something I can't get someplace else. This was everything it should have been. I don't know if it compares favorably to Jungle Boy versus Omega, which gave me a lot of the same feeling, quite frankly. But they kept calling two of the up-and-coming, I forget the phrasing of it, since he was two of the young superstars in the company. That feels like we're underselling MJF a little bit. Like, he's not an up-and-coming, he is.
He's there. He's one of the top guys, yeah.
Yes. This match fucking worked. Chain wrestling in the beginning was a little bit slow. I'm going to assume because they were working before they decided to go to chain wrestling. And we're about to go 20 minutes, so perhaps we shouldn't fucking go overboard here. But MJF, when he's given somebody he has to hang with, he hangs with them. Jungle Boy comes to mind immediately. And then this match comes to mind. Moxley, I thought it was a pretty good match. But if he has to carry somebody, Chris Jericho or Cody, quite frankly, not so much. He was in his bag this match. Obviously, Sammy started this match because the flipping to the crowd, wow, so clean too. And it's not even the best match of the best spot of the fucking match. The 630 to me, as MJF begs off, was fantastic. I don't love the finish, but I'll take it. If you gotta give it to me, I'll take it. To be fair to Shawn Spears, we talked about Bubba Ray fucking going into a trance when he hits upside to a table. Shawn Spears' orgasm after he fucking hits you from a chair is hilarious. It just is. It's the perfect amount of over the top for me. I'm good for it.
Yeah, I did like the little look on the outside when he's just like, oh yes. You can imagine when he's with Peyton Royce, that's what he's doing. But yes, our producer is not a fan of Shawn Spears. Hashtag Shawn Spears ruins things. We got John Aries in the live chat here saying, did MJF legit hurt his knee? He made me believe that knee was blown out. He's so good. The two of them were awesome together. Totally agree with you. MJF sold that knee. Like, I was really honestly believing like he was hurt. Like, I legit thought it. Like, I was like, oh shit, did he hurt himself? This is like, he's selling that knee ridiculously. Rambling Rambo, I've seen him in the live chat a lot. And finally, he has a comment worth of highlighting. He says, MJF is best thing in modern day pro wrestling. He says, what I think about all the silly no-sells on AEW every week keeps kayfabe, absolute star. MJF is better than Kenny Omega.
Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
That's a hot take, but it is a good take. I will say. You make good points. CM says, honestly, I forgot about Hager. He's a good enforcer. Still mad as fuck about Sammy MJF. I wanted Sammy to win. Yeah, that was the whole point. I think that the finish, although I thought, the tombstone off the top rope would have been a great way to end the match. I understand the finish in protecting Sammy. Sammy's going to get that big win, whether it's, a title win or over MJF. Honestly, after this matchup, I think that, we all were talking about earlier, Omega versus Hangman. I think Hangman is the guy to beat Omega for the world title. I think after Hangman, it's MJF's time. And then when MJF is the champion, you got two big, baby faces on the rise, in my opinion, to beat him. It's either Jungle Boy or Sammy Guevara, or even Darby Allin. All three of them are three baby faces on the rise that could beat a heel champion in MJF. Who would you take out of those three to beat MJF if MJF becomes the AEW world champion?
If he can get away from Sting fast enough, it would be Darby Allin. To me, he's MJF is a heel, so it's hard for him to be like the face of anything. So Darby to me is the first guy that felt like look at what we got that nobody else has. And to see him go over, I probably wouldn't do it against MJF though. To me, Darby needs to beat, I was going to say Christian, but they've already ruined that. He needs to beat a WWE guy because it just feels poetic that Darby Allin beats Christian or Jericho or Sting or somebody. I'd be here for it.
I agree with you. It's similar to how he beat Cody for the TNT championship. Yeah, I can see that. To end the night, we didn't just end with the Pinnacle celebrating that victory. We got a beautiful, beautiful highlight package montage on the 16 months in Jacksonville with the song talking about thanking everyone for being there, highlighting everything that's happened. The first promo with Cody and Kenny Omega following the pandemic, the debuts of Brody Lee and Matt Hardy, Brody Lee winning the TNT championship, all the debuts from Miro to Vicky Guerrero to FTR. We got highlights from both Stadium Stampedes, Double or Nothing, Full Gear, All Out, everything in between. And I thought that this was a great way to kind of put a bow on the run in Jacksonville. And when you think about it, AEW has spent more time in a pandemic, 16 months straight in Jacksonville, than they did overall in their existence as a company. And the fact that they have progressed the way they have despite this pandemic, it's a credit to them. I've seen some people hating on Tony Khan, hating on AEW in the live chat here, but they deserve credit for what they accomplished in Jacksonville. I'm done with you. What was your thoughts on the video package? And of course, we'll also mention that. See people in the live chat also. Oh yeah, there you go for you, Jimmy.
My man, go ahead.
Rambling Rambo saying Tony is just the puppet. The elite know he's a geek and just spend his cash. Only thing Tony's talked about is them crazy focus groups. He's never said anything about a focus group. That was Cody, actually. I got to point out his logic holes because Rambling Rambo just rambles and he doesn't know what he's talking about a lot. So I got to mention that. A guy who works in AEW said all in an interview, right mess. I don't even know what that, a lot of that was incoherent as well. He says, like my cub Fulham, Tony should take his nod, take his toys, go play promoter in his dad's bed.
My man, absolutely.
I'm done with you doing the Raven pose.
You know what it is? He says what I be thinking. That's exactly. I saw it. Was it you or somebody you retweeted saying Tony's a wrestling fan? If you had a chance to run your promotion, you would. Yes, most wrestling fans stink. We agree. This is exactly what it would be like. Exactly like that. You gotta be happy for the guy. I am. Do I have to watch it?
You do watch it. This is the first thing you've watched in wrestling in like 8 years.
Go big and probably back.
Oh man.
All right.
Yes, yes, we also should mention that after this beautiful montage of the Daily's Place era of AEW Dynamite, JR ended the night by saying, "There is nothing like seeing WWE Dynamite live," as we went to black. What was your thoughts on the montage of the Daily's Place era, Jimmy, as well as JR's blunder to end the night?
A montage was fine. I was about to go on another Brody Lee rant, but this actually is the time to do it. Instead of every other week when you abuse him, his legacy, and his child. But yeah, it's neither here nor there. Kids having a good time. Enjoy yourself. I thought it was fine. JR's blunder didn't hit me as bad as I thought it would because I had been reading all week. Essentially, the JR should retire. And first, over a letter, by the way. Oh, good.
We got Carnage Payne saying, "I told you, lay off Jim Ross. Guy's a legend. Have some respect for his profession. It was a mistake."
He's a goat.
He is.
He messed up a letter and fucking killed JR. You know, didn't like him anyway.
Honest Beyond Reasonable saying, "But it's Tony's money, so he's paying JR. Jim Ross shouldn't be announcing." Sheesh.
Jesus.
He said they could have Josh Matthews. Oh my God, what a take. What a take. Or Gary Taggart. Ramble saying Matthews is a joke. He isn't in Jim Ross class. He's a joke and was awful. Gotta agree with Ramble. Carnage Payne says Josh Matthews couldn't carry JR's hat for him, much less.
God damn. Has he been that bad?
Josh Matthews was never the best commentator. Not even in
Velocity.
He was pretty good on Velocity, but he was also 20 years old. That was 20 years ago now. He's like in his 40s. Rachel Cornell says, "Why everyone was being cruel to Jim Ross on social media was disgusting."
Welcome to wrestling fans.
Carnage Payne says, "Don't apologize to me. Apologies to Jim Ross. Tell you these guys on keyboards, the nerds, they talk it up until you see them out and they're geeks that look like they graduate scientists."
Oh my God, what the fuck? Carnage Payne's ready to see somebody in the streets, goddammit. Jesus. Kwame Brown over here, goddammit.
Oh man! And then Ramble says, "Hey, I like this guy Jimmy, and I'll send you a link of SP3 of interview about focus groups. Probably in Fulham, not in AEW, but okay." So yeah, what was your thoughts on JR's blunder?
Yeah, I was ready for some horrific shit to happen because everybody been talking about it all week, and then he just messed up a letter about a company he's been fucking giving that thing for 25 years. Yeah, occasionally it's gonna slip out. What's happened 2 or 3 times in 2 years? What do you want from me? It happens. I don't like to begin with, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. It's mainly a wrestling fan thing. They make a big deal out of everything. They couldn't just focus on everything good that happened on the night. They had to focus on something negative. That's just what wrestling fans do.
And to be fair, most of them don't like Jim Ross to begin with. AEW fans, it seems like, because he's fucking old, essentially.
He does commentate like he's absolutely miserable.
He does. When he's not feeling the program, somebody just did a dive onto 8 other people, you can feel his energy kind of go, "This is stupid. This is dumb.
I'm over this shit. My God." Oh man, that's gonna bring us to a close on AEW Dynamite June 30th edition. Since this is an AE recap, I'm gonna ask you, Jimmy, give this a score, this episode, from 1 to 10.
Last week was 8.5, so this cannot be an 8.5. Sad. Vicky, yeah, fuck it, we'll give it a 7. 7. Solid. Passable.
I gave Saturday Night Dynamite a 9 out of 10.
Right.
I think I originally tweeted this episode a 9 out of 10, but I will say, yeah, I gotta measure it down just a bit. It wasn't as epic as Saturday Night Dynamite, but I will go 8.5 on this episode here. I thought it was very well done. I thought it was back-to-back really great episodes of AEW Dynamite. This was like the first time I would say since like early May, late April, they had back-to-back great episodes in my opinion. Yeah. I enjoyed them a lot. We got a couple of more comments here. Carnage Payne saying thank you. SP3. We also got CM saying, I like seeing -1 there, especially around folks who loved his dad and someone like Brian Pillman Jr. who lost his dad early too. That's actually a good point. I like that as well.
So we should build our wrestling promotion on. I'm speaking with me and Cash now.
Oh my God, awful. We got Honest Beyond Reasonable Seeing. They agree with me about JR. He needs to go. Jeez. I'm okay with JR.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that maybe he should just be for pay-per-views, not every week on Dynamite sometimes.
You know what? It's kind of, you know what? He would be a lot less miserable.
Exactly. That's no slight against him. I think that he's the greatest announcer, play-by-play announcer of all time. But maybe you should save him for the bigger shows and do Excalibur and Tony Schiavone. I think they have gotten into a good role as far as their commentating, and I think they would be good together. Or even replace JR with Taz as the third man. I think Taz would be a good, because he plays off of Excalibur very well.
Yes.
We got Mark Lloyd joining us late saying, hello, everyone, late to the party. You can rewind this from the beginning and watch it back because we're about to end things now. So I gave it 8.5. Jimmy gives it 7 out of 10. Who was your MVP for this episode, Jimmy?
While Sammy was better in the match, MJF also had a fantastic promo. So MJF is my MVP. Fantastic.
Then I will have to go with Sammy Guevara. Had the match of his career. He looked like an absolute star, a future world champion, and he's really come together as a babyface. His in-ring style just fits as a babyface, in my opinion. Even though he does have the the facial of a heel.
He looks like a complete douche. And if we're gonna be a babyface, we have to lose Spanish God, by the way. Not a babyface. What he said, a shock. What?
And the best ever. Yes, the best ever. And you know it. Romeo says, I hate Sammy as a babyface.
Wow.
Hate is a strong word, sir. It's a strong word. But I can see that. But yes, we got 6 out of 10 from Carnage Payne for the show. We got 6 out of 20 from Rambling Ramble. Once again, Rambling Ramble does not watch AEW, so I don't understand how he rates it a 6 out of 20. It's just because it has the letters AEW in it. It gets a 6 out of 20. Ridiculous. All right. But yes, that brings us to a close. Jimmy, please tell the people where they can find you on social media, your YouTube channel, or anything else you got going on, good brother.
YouTube, that works. Exactly that. At Jimmy Macram, so like / Jimmy Macram. Instagram, same thing. Facebook, etc.
Yes, and you could find me on the Twitter machine at TrueHeelSP3. Of course, you can find me over on the Powered 4 TV YouTube channel every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. BST. Wrestling Daily YouTube channel every Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. BST. And the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel following SmackDown with their post-show Smack Talk. And of course, right here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, bunch of great content. Jimmy and Cash every week with All Elite recap. This is just a replacement because Cash couldn't make it this week. So you got SP3 and Mac rambling on about AEW this week, but usually the good brothers take care of All Elite Wrestling with their AE recap. So much fun. Jimmy does a great job putting it all together, and Cash has views that are only for him, and it's lovely. It's lovely.
His YouTube handle, I think, is Rambo.
That's his burner account. Rambling Rambo. Rambo 77.619 is Jimmy's. It's his Cash's burner. We got Rachel Cordell saying thanks so much. That was a great show. We got Rambling said I watched the whole show first time in a year. I don't believe you. You need more people. But like this video, share this video on all your favorite social media platforms. Subscribe to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. Bunch of great content coming up this week. We got my exclusive interview with none other than former WWE champion Alberto El Patron. Quite possibly my most controversial interview yet, as he goes fully in depth on his relationship. Yes, my God, he goes fully in depth on his relationship with Paige. So that is a must watch for show. And follow True Hill Heat on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For Jimmy Macram, for myself, it is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. This has been this has been SP3 and Mac ramble about AEW. Happy 4th of July to you all. We are signing off until next time.